guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Kadi, aka Miss K. So tonight we're going to be going over Empire episode number 3 called You Broke Love. Now we're going to go right into this episode. If you did watch my last week's episode, number 2, I did talk about fillers and anything that was what I didn't think to be aligned with the story, I did not discuss. However, there were some things that were going on, like with Tiana and Becky, that I might just mention, but not elaborate on. Okay, so let's get right into it. So we have the return of Frida Gatz. She's on the street corner and she's rapping or freestyling. And then some guy comes up to her and he mentions, you know, she needs to get back on down with Lucius or whatever, and she said, don't you ever mention his name to me. If I ever see him again, I'm not gonna miss. And she, you know, like revealed the gun that she had on her waist. And then we get a flashback, of course, to Lucius once again getting shot. So every time I see this, guys, I get nervous because it really looks like we're going to lose Lucius. And then the thing that he was also saying, like, you had the voiceover, right, of Lucius. And he was basically saying that, you know, sometimes when you live the life that he's led, people do start to come for you. And so, yeah, just getting a little scary to me, guys. Getting a little scary. So anyway, then we have Damon, who has Cookie tied up in her home. And he's basically threatening to blow her brains out. Damon honestly was looking like a crazy guy in this episode, guys. I just got to put it out there. He was looking a little crazy. And Cookie made a good decision of not wanting to mess with this guy. Okay? So anyway, meanwhile, Andre is taking the time to enjoy his family, you know, his wife and his baby. And once again, Kingsley shows up. Kingsley says something to him, right? About, oh, we have to get things in order for Empire. And we got to secure the spot or whatever. And then Andre is like, what are you talking about? Like, basically he's saying, I'm the CEO, everything's fine. And Kingsley is like, oh, you know that your father's coming back for his seat, his spot. Kingsley was also saying, you know, with your mental health challenges, it's going to be easy for Lucius to attack you. And so the first thing I thought about was, oh gosh. Okay, first let's rewind. Let's go back to the Frida Gatz thing, right? When we saw the Frida Gatz and she had a gun and she said, you know what, I'm not going to miss the next time I see him. Okay, that was, to me, the writers are setting up, once again, suspects. Last week, I believe they set up Billy Beretti, I believe, right? They set him up. They showed us him. So that's one suspect, right? Now we got Frida. She's back. So that's showing another suspect. But then when Kingsley said this to Andre, it made me nervous again because I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is hallucinating, seeing Kingsley, right? And what's going to happen is he's going to mess with Andre's mind. And I said this last week, guys, about Andre and his mind, that I am afraid that it's going to ruin Andre or cause him to do something that's going to make him lose his family or whatever. So my thing is, this hallucination thing going on with seeing Kingsley might cause Andre to be a suspect. Andre to be someone that shoots his dad. So I'm really hoping they don't go that route, guys, because I'm over that whole, you know, Andre trying to kill Lucius thing, or the love-hate relationship between Lucius and the sons. Like, I'm over that. Let's get some love in here, please. Okay? With the Lions, at least. All right? Like, be the Lions against the world. Stop pinning the Lions against each other for once. Anyway. All right, so that was my thing. Okay, and then now we have Becky in the studio with Lala. This is one of the fillers that I'm talking about, guys, and I'm not even going to elaborate on this. I'm just going to let you know that the scenes are actually, you know, her with her terrible singing and her being afraid to sing. The scenes are irritating to watch. So just in case anybody wanted me to bring that up, I'm not skipping those things because I'm not thinking about them. I'm skipping them on purpose, okay? All right. So, Lucius finally cut off his terrible locks. We see him in the barbershop and he's getting, clean shaven and all that stuff. And then he's talking to a guy who looks like he's a security guard or something like that. I don't know who he is, but he's talking to the guy and the guy's like, what's on the laptop? And then Lucius runs down all the things, the incriminating evidence and things like that that are on the laptop. Okay, so then he receives a call from Damon, and Damon threatens to, kill Cookie if Lucius does not bring the laptop within 2 hours. And so Lucius is pretty nonchalant about it. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't deal with Cookie no more. That's your problem. You know what I'm saying? But my problem is I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to give this laptop to. Am I going to give it to the feds? Am I going to give it to one of your clients? Or am I going to give it to a reporter? Whichever one is going to get you shanked is who I'm going to give it to, okay? And so Damon, of course, he wasn't expecting that response, so it drove him freaking crazy. And so now he has to figure out what's next, okay? Then we have Lucius talking to the security guy again, because the security guy is like, and I'm calling him security guy because I don't know who he is, guys. But the security guy is saying, like, Lucius, that's Cookie is your son's mother. Like, why are you going to turn your back on her? And then he's like, listen, she could be setting me up right now. She turned her back on me when I needed her the most. She left me stranded at an airport. Okay. So we see that in that moment, because at first when Lucius was saying, oh, Cookie's not my problem anymore, I honestly thought that he was bluffing. Okay. But then when he had this conversation with the security guy, I saw that he was actually serious. And I was like, are you serious, Lucius? So anyway. Now, meanwhile, Cookie, she's trying to convince Damon that she didn't give Lucius any information. But, of course, Damon is not buying it. And Damon is just looking more and more, he's looking more and more crazy. Like, just going off psycho, throwing stuff, breaking her windows, breaking stuff in her kitchen. He's just really losing it right now. All right? Then we have a scene where Andre, he goes to see a psychiatrist, and he's telling the psychiatrist about all the hallucinations that he's seeing with Kingsley. And so the psychiatrist is like, well, that's something that is kind of normal, especially since you're on like a slew of medications. And so, Andre wants to just know, like, how the heck do I fix this? And then the psychiatrist basically tells him that, if you don't see anything now, then you can possibly control it, right? But then, I don't want to skip ahead. So, Andre basically wants to make sense of the whole Kingsley thing. Like, if he's gonna hallucinate, why is he hallucinating about Kingsley? And then the doctor says, well, there are a myriad of reasons why you'd be hallucinating about Kingsley, because number one, it could be survivor's guilt. Number two, he's your brother that died, and Andre's like half brother, like he's trying to make it clear that he did not care about Kingsley, so that ain't a part of the reason why he would be hallucinating about him. And so then the doctor says, well, maybe there's some type of underlying thing in your subconscious that Kingsley represents. Maybe he represents something that you don't want to let go of, or something that you don't want to admit, right? And so that right there I tried to think a little deeper into that when he said something that you don't want to admit. And when he said that, it made me feel like, okay, what doesn't Andre want to admit about Lucius? Because everything that Kingsley talks about is stuff about Lucius and taking Lucius down. But it's like, what in the world could Andre want to take Lucius down now for? Because he's given him everything. He's passed the torch on over to him. And so I just don't understand it. Okay. Now we move on to Cookie. She's back with Damon in the scene. She's finally admitting to him, that she still loves Lucius. And she's never had feelings for Damon. And, we really get to see that Damon was like totally obsessed with Cookie, okay? Because he starts bugging out, and Cookie's letting him know like it was a mistake, the stuff that happened with them. And he's like, a mistake, a mistake. He just start freaking out, okay? And I'm just like, whoa, like, girl, you made the right choice by not messing with this guy. Like, we know Lucius is crazy, but in a more controlled type of way. This dude, Damon, is crazy in a very unattractive, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's a turnoff. Deal breaker. Anyway, so, then Damon, he's obsessed with the fact that Cookie loves Lucius, and he just can't understand why. But dude, it's not for you to worry about. Like, let it go. She don't want you, and you don't understand the history that they have. So Cookie goes and she breaks down the history and all that stuff, which I totally respect. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, this guy has been there since I was 16. Like, it's hard to let him go, and we all know that. We know that. But Damon had to freaking be schooled to that, But anyway, so Damon says, you know what? You love Lucius so much, but he left you here, okay? And he don't care about you. But I'm going to basically get a hold of somebody that he does care about. So he makes a call to somebody named Dimitri, and he tells Dimitri, find Lucius's 3 grandbabies, okay? You find Bella, you find Prince, and you find the newborn, okay, which they haven't named yet. Okay, so meanwhile, we got a scene where Tiana, she's dealing with the pressures of social media for making her pro-life statement in last week's episode when she was on Instagram and she saw that there was an emergency situation going on with Andre and his wife and the baby. And so she said all life is important. So now everybody's going crazy on social media because I guess it was a kind of like a pro-life statement, basically sounding like it's anti-choice, right? So Tiana basically was explaining to Treasure that, listen, I'm not changing my statement because I am pro-life. They're talking about me and they're coming at me, but they don't even know the reason behind my statement, which is true in real life, guys. A lot of times we judge people off of certain things that they say or they do, and we don't even know because we don't know these people's lives and we don't know what they've been through, what they're really going through. And so it's kind of like, when you're a celebrity or whatever, you kind of, it's almost like you have to answer for every little thing. You can't just go on and say something without people coming at your neck all the time. So I get what Tiana was saying in this episode. She's like, I don't want to change it and I shouldn't have to change it. But she explains to Treasure that, when she was pregnant with twins, she lost one, and so that's why she looks at her son and she just sees how precious life really is. And Treasure seemed to understand that. And I'm just going to fast forward because I'm not going to mention this again later on. She seemed to understand it, but then she want to go and make her little pro-choice statement on Instagram, which was that was catty. All right, after this girl's going to go and share something so deep with you, you're going to go and do your little pro-choice type of IG or statement or whatever, just for sales, for clout, whatever she was doing it for. It was whack. But anyway, I love how Maya comes in and she just she gets in both their behinds. So anyway, we're gonna leave that right alone. All right, so now Cookie, she gets Damon to untie her after claiming that she has to go to the bathroom. You guys know the story. Once she gets up, the whole bathroom's scheme goes right away, and she's telling Damon, don't hurt my grandbabies, I'm leaving, what you gonna do, shoot me in my back, blah blah blah. And he does wind up shooting her in the leg. So she tried to call his bluff, and honey, she got something she was not expecting. So she starts to tell him, you're just like Lucius, all you do is cause pain and all this stuff. And he's like, I'm nothing like Lucius. And then he tries to get her to eat, and then she winds up spitting in his face, okay? Meanwhile, Becky, here's another filler. Becky, her cousin, and her sister come to town. So they're offering, long story short, because I'm not going to mention this again, Becky's sister comes to town. We find out that she looks up to Becky, but Becky didn't want any kind of help because the sister's seeing that Becky needs help. She's in a place where she's struggling in her situation. So anyway, Becky was about to consider her cousin's money laundering scheme to get some extra money. Her sister finds out, and her sister says, why didn't you come to me for a loan and blah, blah, blah. they make up, they kiss and make up, and the sister cuts Becky a check. So who knows where this is going to go in the storyline? I have no idea, which is the reason why I didn't even want to mention these fillers. Okay, now Lucius meets with a reporter named Thea, but then he gets a flashback of a promise that he made to Cookie after she just finished having Jamal. And he said, I'm going to promise to always keep you and the boys first. Always keep the family first. So as he had that flashback, it made him change his mind about giving Thea the laptop. So he leaves, and then we have the scene. It cuts to the scene where Cookie is praying, and she's saying to Damon, please don't hurt my children. My grandchildren, my babies. If anything that happened, whatever me and Lucius did to you, let me pay for it. Kill me, don't kill them. Okay, so as he looks like he's about to reluctantly pull the trigger, he gets a phone call from Lucius who says, I'm ready to cut a deal. In the meantime, Cookie was over there praying that, you know, everything will go well and that Damon will not kill her grandbabies, and that she will have to pay for it instead. So yeah, her prayers were answered, right? So then Damon meets up with Lucius, and they, you know, to exchange Cookie for the laptop in a very like busy area, broad daylight, busy street, all that, right? And Lucius sees that Cookie is hurt, right? And he says, did you hurt her? But Cookie says no, and all that stuff. So I don't know if this is what made Lucius throw the freaking laptop in the middle of the street or what, but he threw the laptop in the middle of the street. Okay, and so the bus runs over it, and Damon's going after it like a madman. So when they get into the car, you know, of course, they had their little tit for tat real quick, you know, like, you was gonna let me just sit here, you know, she's trying to chew him out a little bit, and he's trying to chew her up like, I had to think about it, blah, blah, blah. But then they have their little reconciliation moment that was nice and short and sweet. And then he was about to tell her, like, you know, y'all gotta drop her. They got into the cab. He said, you gotta drop her off because everything that was on that laptop was going to free me. So Cookie is saying, you know, well, you owe me again because I took the SIM card from my phone. Now you got another scene where they're meeting with Conway, and they're basically they're letting her know that they have leverage because they have proof that she's been up to some dirty tricks and in cahoots with Damon. Okay, and what they need her to do is to drop all charges and investigations against Lucius. And of course, she has to agree. And before she leaves, they're like, listen, we own you now. So basically, don't even try nothing new because we own you. And we got this leverage, and it ain't going nowhere. Okay, so that was nice. Lastly, Lucius. They go to meet their new grandchild, and they find out that his name is Walker Lyon. And so the name Walker comes from, it's Lucius's old last name, okay? And so I thought that was pretty cool. All right, and that was pretty much my rundown, guys. We do see that next week Damon is back in the picture, and there's going to be some more drama going on between them, and so things look like they're going to start heating up. I don't know how many episodes there are in this season, but they might do a winter break type of situation before they really get rid of the show. But anyway, another episode without Hakeem, so not really sure what that's all about. I think this was the second episode without him. I guess he's not really gonna be that important to the show, the storyline this time. It's looking like the storyline is more so about Cookie, Lucius, and Andre, which I'm cool with, which is the reason why from now on, guys, from this day forth, I'm not going to be talking about the fillers anymore. I'm not even going to mention them unless I feel like they're going to fit in with the storyline. Okay? So thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you guys think of this episode down in the comments. If there's anything that I missed, any type of, you know, points or any kind of predictions that you guys may have, please leave them down in the comments so we can get this conversation going. All right, thank you so much, and see you guys next time. Be blessed.